Hey guys, welcome to Automox to FP Wellman. You guys remember this video from Labor Day or so? It relates. Watch this.
Up and they call it freedom. 4 years later, your electric bill is up and they call it freedom. 4 years later, they're taking your girl children's scholarships and giving it to biological males and they call it freedom. 4 years later, they're removing body parts from our children and calling it freedom. 4 years later, the border is wide open and criminals are coming across and they're calling it freedom. 4 years later, we're paying more in food and they call it freedom. Freedom, my friends, ain't free because people have died when they pulled us out of Afghanistan or Greece. And you call it freedom? I'm telling you what, take down that weird sign, because y'all are the ones who are weird. That's not freedom. Boogie. Freedom is not free.
Okay, so that's Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears of Virginia. She is now the Republican nominee for governor of Virginia. Really? And so one thing we've been telling you guys from the beginning here this year, I think after the day after the election, I started telling you guys that 2025 is an election year, and it really is. And it's at the state level. About 31 states have got elections this year. Here's the map we've been throwing around for you. 31 states. I mean, you can see you've got Virginia, you've got New Jersey with governors and below and statewide. You've got dozens of states who are having elections this year that matter to you and matter to all of us because 2025 is an election year. But it's the down ballot election year. And once again, I've got the perfect guest to talk about these issues and why it matters and why you need to be involved and where Democrats are actually winning right now. So hopefully we're going to get some good news for this one. And we're going to have a lot of great conversations. As always, I am Fred Wellman, host of On to Mox the FP Wellman, right here in the MeidasTouch Network and our Substack. I'm thrilled to have you. Let's get on with the show. Welcome. I am Fred Wellman. As I mentioned about 15 seconds ago, this is On to Mox FP Wellman, right in the MeidasTouch Network and everywhere else. Man, it is an important time, right? And it's easy to get down and think that everything is going against us, things aren't working. But there actually is what I call green shoots, right? There is good news. There are good things happening. So I'm thrilled to welcome our guest this week. She is Heather Williams. She's the president of the Democratic Legislative Campaign Committee. She drives all the national strategy for the Democrats to win the local and legislative races. She is a rock star. Heather, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to chat with you.
You've been at DLCC for a couple of years, right?
I have seen a lot.
Yeah.
Oh,
I want to start off. I always never want to assume what people know and what they don't know. Can we start with the most basic one? I know for a fact it confuses people. What's the difference between the DNC, the DLCC, the DCCC, SCCC? I mean, there's so many committees. Can you explain the relationship? What is DLCC's special mission?
absolutely. So the Democratic Legislative Campaign Committee is the party committee responsible for state legislatures. Our work is in the states. It is with the candidates and the electeds that still live in their communities, that campaign over the threshold of the door, having real, authentic conversations with voters all across the country.
And it matters, right? Because we're doing well. I show Winsome Sears here. Virginia is very much in play this year. We've got a governor's race. Abigail Spanberger is the Democratic nominee. But their legislators up for grabs. A very tight legislature. I'm not sure the balance is with one or two seats, I believe, in Virginia right now, isn't it?
That is right. It is one of five legislative chambers on the ballot this cycle with a one-seat majority. So protecting that is mission critical for us this year.
Yeah, and some important laws being passed there. Obviously, they're trying to enshrine women's rights to an abortion and other rights within the legislative cycle and the Constitution. And you guys are investing in Virginia, aren't you?
Absolutely. As I mentioned, this is
one of the chambers that has a one-seat majority, and protecting it is critical for all the reasons that you said and so many more. Virginia is a hotspot, obviously, to really understand what's happening with this administration and
Yeah.
the sort of wrecking ball that they are taking to our government services. And as the Speaker of Virginia, I think, has said a number of times, his name's Don Scott. He's wonderful. He'll say, like, these aren't arbitrary people who are sort of nameless, faceless people. These are the folks that are protecting our water and our air and our communities. They're making our food safe and our schools like of good quality. And so we're going to learn a lot about what's happening in Virginia. This one seat majority is, as I said, critical. With the governor's race there, we'll have all eyes on Virginia, which will also, I think it's really important to note, like be the launching pad, right, to move us into
Yeah.
2026. Not only is this important for state power, which is our job, but we recognize that our ability as Democrats to tell our story and to win elections is predicated on, each one of these smaller wins, right? The electoral success we've had already, the special elections and protecting legislative chambers this year, the big November elections, and then moving into the big midterms, which obviously have so much at stake.
Yeah, and it's easy to forget 4 years ago when Glenn Youngkin did win in Virginia, when they did flip the legislature, it sent a shockwave through the country just less than a year after Biden was elected. We had such great fanfare and hope. It really does matter. These state races are a huge, weather vane, if you will, or a canary in the coal mine about what's coming in the next cycle, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. And I also think that it's really important at a time like we are in right now for people to have a place to go, right? Like
Yeah.
you think about how to participate in objection to what is happening or how to make your voice heard. You've got a couple of options, right? You
Yeah.
can protest, show up, use your voice, right, to call offices. You've got an option to use your time, right, to volunteer, to use your resources to contribute. And you have an opportunity to vote. And, our ballot level has elections all the time. If it's a Tuesday, there's an election day, we like to say. Um, and, folks have been showing up for Democrats, and we've been overperforming by an average of 10 points in these elections just this year. So I think it's really important for folks to understand it matters. It matters not just in competitive districts or blue states. It matters in red states too, where we flipped a Trump double digit district in Iowa. Like, keep it up, folks. You're doing a good job.
Yeah, and that's a conversation we have daily, and it's one of the reasons literally after the election, I did that map, if I showed you earlier of where these elections are. It does matter that people felt helpless, and they still do. I'm actually speaking at an event here in, Missouri today, for folks, town hall for Chris Murphy's coming to town. I mean, people are looking for energy, and they're looking for a place to put it, and these legislative races are where they can put that. And look, amidst the chaos since the election, it's been easy to lose sight that there has been success, and you hinted at it, that you guys have been overperforming. Your ballot level's doing well, isn't it?
It is. It is. We've already protected 5 legislative majorities this year alone. We're not even
Mm.
100 days into this presidency. And we've been able to show up in these communities with candidates who are of their districts, of their
Yep.
communities, who are willing to have the kinds of conversations with voters that voters are begging for, right? I want someone who's going to fight for me, who's going to listen to my real concerns, not the made up ones, but the real ones. And then I want them to take that information and I want them to advocate, right? And I want to get the outcomes that improve my life. And I will say, I think what we've learned thus far already with these wins and this performance is that the voters were really clear in 2024 about where they wanted their attention, right? They wanted folks to focus on kitchen table issues, on the kinds of things that affect their daily lives, that affected their pocketbook, right? And their economic opportunity, and that's what you're seeing with Democrats leading in the states. And so when our candidates for these elections are in their community, they're not only talking about the issues that people care most about, but they're willing to say, hey, I get it. We need to make improvements in this area, but taking a sledgehammer to it is not going to fix the problem. That informative, right, like action, we're here to actually, dig in and get real results. And if you like honor me with your vote, right, I can go to the state capitol and I can make a difference. And we're doing that. And I think that that's really important as we think about, these small wins all lead up to big wins. And again, they give folks a place to put their action and, we're delivering.
Yeah, and we're paying attention. We saw the race, the Supreme Court race in Wisconsin recently was a big deal. Obviously, the legislative races. There's some big battles. I'm here in Missouri right now where they're actually trying to that we passed a petition initiative to put abortion, enshrine abortion in our constitution, and now they're going back trying to rewrite it again. And because they have a supermajority in the Senate and the House here, they can do as they will. I mean, these states, if people are worried about the state, we haven't really touched on it, but if you're worried about the state of your democracy, which so many of us are, so many of us are rising up because the state of the democracy, it's your state legislature where that battle is really being fought hard right now, isn't it?
It is. And, I think it's important, right? You think about a state like Missouri, as you said, where you are, like, what I hope people hear is that you can make a difference, right? Like, that vote really does matter, even if your state feels like it is a red Republican state. You've got the power to make that difference. And, we've been talking some about this election, but if I just zoom out for a second, since Trump came into this political world, right, in 2016, we picked up 10 legislative chambers. Like, we've been preparing for this and ensuring that, folks are protected by leaders and elected officials who share their values, but who also are willing to like dig into the hard things that we are facing and come up with solutions that make sense. And I think that's really important. So now we sit at this place where 50% of Americans have, some level of democratic leadership in their state. And when you tie it into what's at stake this year and in the midterms in 2026, 40 million people are governed by a one seat Democratic majority. One seat is the difference between these folks having their rights protected, having good access to healthcare and education, quality communities. That is really, really like high stakes and really important, I think, as folks think about, this isn't just about a federal fight. This is about what's happening in your own backyard.
And you're out and about, and you're talking to I mentioned myself, I'm speaking at town hall, I know you've been traveling quite a bit to talk to your team. What are you hearing as you travel these states? I mean, what's the vibe you're getting? I mean, I know there's a lot of angst at our level, at the grassroots level. You guys are interesting to me because the DLCC has always been interesting to me because you're like a bridge in a certain sense from our local efforts to a national effort in DC. I mean, what are you hearing as you travel the states?
Yeah, I think a couple of things. One, like this ballot level is the future, right? This is
Right.
where you are able to protect our rights, where we are able to really address the things and learn from them, right? It's where we are developing really strong leaders that both lead in state and out of state and move to Congress. 50% of Congress came out of the state legislature. So we've got, sort of this really great tie into the future. But also, I think if you just dig into these communities, the elections that we've already had, what folks are hearing on the doors already is that, they want someone who is going to stand up to something, right? And as we see, right, Republicans are unwilling to have any spine in this fight. They're unwilling to say, hey, I agree on most things, but this is too far. Or, you know what, this is really detrimental to our community and I just can't let it go. Instead, they're saying like there was an elected official in Virginia who has a Volvo plant that is closing, and there's roughly like 100 jobs that are being removed because of that. And it's a tariffs related issue. And this elected official was like, it's just a bump in the road. Like 100 people's lives changed, right? Their economic future uncertain. And Republicans just think this is something that we all need to endure and it's just a bump in the road. Like that's ridiculous. Meanwhile, you've got Democrats out there who are saying, like, tell me what the concern is. I agree, right? Like we can make things more efficient. We can make, good uses of our taxpayer dollars. That's really important. There's always ways to improve that. But we're not going to cut off your livelihood. Um,
Right.
that's wild.
Or dismiss it, right? Or as dismiss it as nothing but an inconvenience, or as one of our actually Congress members here in Missouri said, "Well, it's God's will." and
Oh,
he
that's
has
so yeah.
he has a plan for you. It's like, bro, when I can't feed my family, I have a hard time, because some Doge bro or somebody else decided that our department's not important. I want to take a break for our sponsor. We have great sponsors this week, and then I'll come back. And we're going to talk about some more. So I'll be right back. You guys know I'm a veteran of the United States Army, having served 22 years in uniform. My father was a World War II veteran, the Marine Corps, and my son's a veteran of the Army. So you can almost say the military runs in our blood. But we also grew up with weapons in our homes. And the one thing I was taught very early by my father was to respect our weapons, to keep them secure and safe while having them accessible when needed. That's always been the challenge, right? I mean, you lock it up in a secure place. You need to have a key or perhaps battery operated systems. It's always been a challenge. When the time comes, you might actually need your handgun for self defense. So I'm so proud to have Stopbox USA as a sponsor of the show. They developed the Stopbox Pro, which is a unique system. It's push button locking system. So it gives you fast, reliable access at any time. There's no hassling for those keys you should have hidden somewhere else. It's 100% mechanical, so it's available every time with no power needed. Now, with Stopbox USA, you can probably and finally have both security and readiness. Stopbox Pro mechanical keyless system allows for fast access. And the best part is our listeners are getting 10% off your entire order when you use code FRED10. That's Fred10. They also give you a buy one, get one free offer on their Stopbox Pro. That's 10% off right now and a free Stopbox Pro when you use code FRED10 at stopboxusa.com. This is a very limited time offer, you guys. So it's just a crazy deal. I'm not going to lie to you. These are great systems built in America by American employees, building a very high quality product that's easy to use and answers the questions you need answered in your home, which is having a weapon. If you have one, it needs to be secure. So now you get 10% off your entire order when you use code FRED10 at stopboxusa.com. They're also giving you a buy one, get one free for their Stopbox Pro. That's 10% off and a free Stopbox Pro. Just use that code FRED10. Discover a better way to enhance your security and balance it with readiness with Stopbox. Thanks for being a sponsor of the show, guys. Starting a business is very hard. You're going through everything with finding out your logo, building your website, getting your point of sale set up, your inventory, supply chains these days. Don't get me started about that. When my family started a business 12 years ago in a small town in Virginia, that was one of the big challenges we had. How do we find a point of sale that works? How do we run an online store? How does it all integrate with our social media channels and everything else? And we were just glad we finally found a partner that works so well for us. And that's where Shopify comes in. Shopify is a commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world, and it's 10% of all e-commerce just in the US alone, from household names that like Mattel and Gymshark to brands just getting started, or brands you should know like Sugar and Spruce in Fredericksburg, Virginia. You can get started with your own design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store to match your brand's style. Now, you accelerate your content creation. Shopify is packed with helpful AI tools that write product descriptions, page headlines, and even enhance your product photography for you. You can get the word out like you have a marketing team behind you. Easily create email and social media campaigns whenever your customers are scrolling or strolling, and it integrates directly into your point of sale system. And best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. So if you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. So that's where we come in. Turn your big business idea into... That's right. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/Fred. That's go to shopify.com/Fred. One more time for those at home, shopify.com/Fred. You can start your business now and grow it successfully. And we're back. So that's the amazing. Now, having said that, just as we were getting ready to plan the show, we're recording on Thursday. Ken Martin and the DNC just announced a huge investment in their state's project, right? Can you talk a little bit about that? Because obviously you guys are partners with DNC in a lot of ways. This is a pretty big investment in the states in an off year, isn't it?
It is. Chairman Martin has been such an advocate for state races. Before he took this position at the DNC, he was chair of the Minnesota Democratic Party, a place where we've had active state legislative races for a very long time. And, he brings to the table this deep understanding that we need to win up and down the ballot. that we are no longer in a place where politics is just top down. We've got an ability to groundswell up and also, right, be benefited by the infrastructure and the supports built for a national or statewide race. So we're really excited about what he's doing here, and strongly believe that we will be better as Democrats and our country will be better when we are able to holistically look at the ballot and the opportunities both federally and in the states. And he's a champion for that. And we're excited about those opportunities together.
Yeah, it's exciting to see. I think like a red state like mine will get like 22,500 a month, which I think doesn't sound like a lot of people, but a monthly that's a couple employees that they need, in a state party that may not have it. Having said that, what do you see as I mean, getting people to run? I mean, I'm not sure you guys do a lot of recruiting and all. I mean, what do you see as the obstacles to get people involved right now? Like we do need people to step up for these state level races. I mean, it seems like everyone wants to run for Congress right away, but you hinted it a little earlier that these state level legislatures and as elected positions are really a proving ground to learn governance, and so many of our leaders come from there. How are you encouraging people to take that step and run their local races?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think with the weight of the news and every day feels like a fire drill where something just horrible is happening to a community you care about, to a system that you believe in, or want to make better, right? Like what is happening to the fabric of our country is definitely being called into question, and it's hard. I think sometimes feeling the weight of that and not knowing what to do with it is really difficult, particularly for folks who may be participants in elections in on years or in presidential years. And I think, as I think about what the landscape has looked like already in 2025 and what the road ahead is, it is getting involved in these local elections, right? And to your point about Missouri just a second ago, it, one could say it may not seem like a lot, but when you're able to start to organize and show people a path to creating the change that they want to see, it starts race by race. We don't necessarily like need to turn all of the red states blue in a presidential right now. We need to build for that future that we want, and it starts in your backyard with the local candidate who is again like of your community. It's the basketball coach, it's the it's a school board member, it's the teacher who's running for office and is looking for, the kind of grassroots support that folks can feel really good about participating in, and know that their participation really makes a difference.
Yeah. And it does and for me, it's one of the things I talk about, like, I'm a campaign operative, if you will. And what I also like about these legislative races, and if you talk to so many, and I've been on a Senate campaigns, congressional campaigns, what's fascinating to me though is how many staffers, the people who really run these campaigns, were learning, campaign managers, campaign organizers, the field organizers, they're growing out of these legislative races. So, do you guys talk about that a lot? That the fact that the work you do to encourage legislative races and everywhere is also building a new team and a new effort of a generation of those who can run professional races too. That we need at the national level, don't we?
100%, right? There's nothing better than to get the firsthand, like direct conversation with a voter, right? And
Fair.
there is not a ballot level that talks directly to more voters than ours does. And that's right, like through the lens of the candidate, it's through the lens of their, small, campaign team
Yeah.
and their closest friends and family. And if you want to, keep yourself sort of firmly on the ground and make sure that you don't get caught up, right, in the narratives that can, sort of color your view of what is happening in the world or in people's lives, like you talk to real voters, right? And that really sharpens skills, that sharpen the ability to have that kind of dialogue, not only when you agree, but also when you disagree or see different paths forward. And I think that's really, really important. And we're really, I think, excited and proud about, what our legislators do when they are in office. But also the fact that they're really honing their skills to be able to be, great leaders in whatever their next step is going to be if they decide to leave their legislature.
Well, that's wonderful because it does matter. So, what are your what's your as you're looking at the year, you're looking at your roadmap. I know you've got some states you've invested in. Where are your prioritize? Where are you prioritizing things here in 2025? Where we're going to see you in action, and what kind of investments are you guys making right now?
Yeah, so as I said, Virginia is where our eyes are right now. This one seat
Right.
you've already we've got a seven-figure investment moving into that state. It's really, really important that we protect this majority. And if the environment is right, expand upon it, right? So our job is to create those opportunities, right, and find ways to seize them. This will set us up for success in 2026 as we look at a set of states that I think folks will not be surprised by in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. That is where the bread and butter fights are going to be in the states. It's where the core fights, I'm sure, are going to be up and down the ballot. And right now, right, we're building both focus and attention on this ballot level, but also, preparing the resources needed. So if folks are interested in learning more, how to get involved, what they can do, they should head to dlcc.org.
That's a great place. All right, there you go. There it is. Well, I got. We'll put that back on the screen too. It's a great way. Yeah, I think you brought it home very nicely there. It's like professional. There is, and look, it does matter. And I was thrilled to hear from you guys and had this conversation because we are pounding this. As I said, there are so many opportunities for people to get involved. If they're sitting this out, and it's really been an interesting year as the grassroots has been kind of pushing the higher, right? And I imagine you're kind of between the two, like Atlas putting the rock up the hill. So well, we really appreciate your work. We appreciate your work here in Missouri, especially where we're doing things and everywhere else you're going. So I've got you up on the screen where people can find where else can they find more information?
They can head to the DLCC on Twitter and Blue Sky.
There you go.
Sorry, and or Heather for Dems as well.
Oh, Heather, there you go. Should put that out there too. Heather, I really appreciate your time. We appreciate the work you guys are doing. It matters. And I appreciate taking time here to talk to the here on Democracy family and the MeidasTouch family. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Keep up the fight. Oh, what a great conversation with Heather. I appreciate her coming out. That it's good. I just want to have these conversations with the folks in DC who are out here. My thing is I'm kind of the blue dot here in a red state, and I'm just so proud to hear from the Democrats and what the Democrats at the national level are doing because it matters. And I've said it since the day one, right? I'll bring that thing back up again for a reason, right? This is your elections. This is the races. They started in February. As you heard, they've already defended 5 state legislatures successfully. The election cycle is occurring right now, and you can be a part of it. We can all be a part of it. We can all make a difference right now. Now, as always, I appreciate you guys joining me. I want to remind you, and for those who are following us, I'm very, very proud to be part of a big event, in DC on June 6th, the 81st anniversary of D-Day. I'm proud to be one of the organizers for the Unite for Veterans, Unite for America March. We will be dropping into Washington, D.C. on the National Mall to let the Trump administration, let everyone know that the hard fought rights, the hard fought benefits, the health care for our nation's veterans cannot be ignored or dismantled like they are. And so we're going to bring out as many thousands of veterans and allies and supporters. You all are welcome. Don't have to be a veteran. Without allies and supporters, we'd be nowhere. There's only about 15 million or less living veterans today. So we're less than 7% of the population. So we need our partners and allies to come with us, but it's for all of us. Veterans we found ourselves in the middle of these conversations and in so many ways and in ways I didn't expect myself, even as we went into this. But as the Trump administration, as their allies, as Doge take shots at those benefits that we've worked so hard to learn, to get and earn, to see them taken and stripped from us so easily is dismaying to say the least. So we're going to be in DC. You can learn more at unite4veterans.org. It's right here on the screen. That's unite number 4veterans.org. I would love you to go there on the website as we're adding more information. We got a big announcement this week. I can't wait to tell you about a name will be appearing on stage with us, as well as other veterans groups. This is not a fly-by-night operation. We've got incredible backing. AFL-CIO is backing us. Some of the veteran service organizations are backing us. Many of the groups will be there on the ground, letting these folks know in DC that our veterans will not be used as cannon fodder again. All right, it's that simple. And it harkens back, if you know the history of the bonus army of 1932, hopefully it doesn't end that way. That would be unfortunate. It'd be very bad. But I'll be there, and I'll be there with a lot of my good friends, Chris Goldsmith and others, Ken Harbaugh, from the MeidasTouch Network. We'll all be there on that day to talk about the issues that matter to veterans and everyone. I hope you'll be there with us again. That's June 6th this year, just 6 weeks away in Washington, D.C. I've been asked if we'll be organizing local events as well. That's on the agenda as well. Right now, we're getting organized, getting our speakers and our partners. But yes, there will be opportunities for you to participate in your own marches as well. But in the meantime, if you can make it to Washington, D.C. on June 6th, I would love to see you there. And final plug, guys, if you haven't watched yet, I hope you will. We're so proud of Too Late to Cancel. It's our new Sunday show. It's doing fantastic every Sunday. Too Late to Cancel is live. Right on the On Democracy channel and all my social networks. This weekend, we've got an incredible show. We're actually going to have President of Media Matters for America join us. We're going to have a union fighting back against the Department of Education dismissals and dismantling of the Department of Education. We got two great, hilarious comedians. If you haven't seen her, Lysandra, who's doing some incredible work, making Caroline Levitt uncomfortable on the internet. It's gonna be a great show. That's Too Late to Cancel this Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. Sorry, Pacific people, but we got to get up early. It's our great live Sunday show every weekend. I can't wait to see you there. I hope you'll join us. In the meantime, the best place to find me, folks, these days is my growing Substack. I'd love you to join us there. It's fpwellman.substack.com. We're kind of routing all of our videos through there. We're doing lives just for that. I've got one today. We're doing all my writing is there. If you do want to follow us, it is totally free. I would love you to paid upgrade would make me really happy, so we can pay for all this. But in the meantime, everything I post is free. I'd love you to join us to subscribe to our Substack for Fred. It's fpwellman.substack.com. And with that, thank you for joining us in the show. Thanks for my friend Michelle to join us here at the to talk about these important issues. I look forward to talking to you again next week. Again, I'm Fred Wellman. This is On Tomas FP Wellman. We'll see you again next week.